Yo, welcome back everybody. Today we have the final video of the patch, because today, right about the time that this video comes out, we will have a brand new patch for Hearthstone Battlegrounds, patch 22.2, which introduces the buddy system. And to cap off the last expansion, figured who wants to watch gameplay from an old season? So instead, today we have a tier list for the upcoming expansion. It's my guesses. It's my justification. It was a long discussion on stream today. Figured people like the patch review. Maybe you'll like this. If you don't, whatever. Tomorrow we'll be back to gameplay footage. But hey, out with the old and in with the new. That's a lot of fun to theorycraft. All right, enjoy. AFK hero power we already know. Snack vendor being complete and utter garbage. Honestly, like, this is why this is going to be so much quicker. We've already gone over this. We don't need to talk about heroes that are unplayable. AFK is straight up unplayable. There are going to be a couple that are like that. Can I just hit okay? Next with Alakir. Alakir's Spirit of Air. Does this work like this? And then just hitting the next. Perfect. All right. Spirit of yeah, no change on AFK. AFK was F tier before. AFK is going to continue to be F tier once again. Alakir. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion Wind Fury, Divine Shield, and Taunt. If this meta turns out to be as tempo-oriented... Yeah, Jedian's been around here before. So typically when I do tier lists or whatever, you're more than welcome to type in chat what you think this is going to be. If you want to participate, that's perfectly fine. If you do not, that's cool too. But we're really just kind of, you know... I'm thinking out loud and I'm going to say what I think, you know. So overall, Spirit of Air is going to be a very tempo-heavy meta that, generally speaking, in the middle of the game, getting a hold of a unit that effectively acts as a big tribal selfless hero is pretty solid. It is not broken by any means, but solid. If that's the case, then Alakir is a pretty solid B tier, like right in the middle of the pool. Now I'm going to also add a D tier here, like add a row below. It's going to be called D. It's going to be, I don't know, bluish. New? Wait, oh, this is C. D. Can't be the same color. It can be pink. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, we're going to have a D tier too, because I can't stand not having a D. Alphabet with Bofur. Yes, indeed. Indeed. All right, all right, all right. Let's get Alexstrasza. Veil Straws. Battlecry, add a random dragon from your tavern tier to your hand. This is a good time to clarify that we are going to be talking about the initial patch. There is no armor system added to the game as of the initial patch that is planned to be added back. But there are a couple heroes that got a massive win rate boost when we added armor, and one of them was Alexstrasza. And Alexstrasza really struggles with getting online. Now, I don't think Alexstrasza is unplayable by any means, but I do think she's going to suffer from not having armor. Remember, there are two changes to Alexstrasza. Number one, okay, well, three. One is the buddy. Two is the fact that there is now a 2 gold higher cost to go to Tavern 5, which is going to severely limit the ability to power level as Alexstrasza. And the third one, the most important one, in my opinion, is that they got rid of the reduction in rate of offerings of 6-star dragons. So Kalecgos and Amalgadon can be offered to Alexstrasza. What used to be about 1% of the time will be closer to 9% of the time now, per box. So you're talking about close to 15 to 18% chance that each game of Alexstrasza, you just get a Kalecgos or Amalgadon as soon as you level to 5. And if you time that with getting Veilstrasse as well, you basically get a 50-50 of hitting a Razorgore at the same time. And that's a pretty damn good power spike. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is like overly strong, but not unplayable by any means. D tier. You give her back her armor and she becomes playable. Yeah, I know. That's all of those justifications for Alexstrasza being okay. Still D tier. She's not as bad as we're giving her shit for online, but still not great. All right, Arana. Arana is going to be a cheese hero this patch. Absolutely cheese hero. Demon Hunter Sklib over here is a house at forcing Demon Saralisk. at forcing elemental strats. I know Demon Sorrowless is going to be way better. But this is actually like, if this is a tempo-oriented meta, I could fully see this hero being a top tier hero. Not like top 5, but like legitimately A-B range. First A tier hero, Arana. Fitting with the name, Arana. Let's go. All right. Arch-Villain Rafaam. Yeah, I love how all these are ordered by their name, like R for Rafaam, but it's going to be different on the website. Like Baerov is L for Lord. All right, let's, I'll scroll down at the end. Loyal Henchman. After you kill a second minion each combat, get a plain copy of it. It's Rafaam. Rafaam is a top tier hero. They gave him a good buddy. Now, it's going to be the general theme here is that good heroes before, if they got good buddies, are just going to be great heroes right now. And if they're bad heroes before and they got a great buddy, that may not be enough to fix them. But when you're talking about a tempo-oriented meta, which is what Rafaam excels in, and you give him a good tempo unit that then once again gives you stuff and is useful, like this is a top tier hero. I think Rafaam may be a top 5 hero. And where the fuck is Rafaam? There we go. Rafaam's S tier. Rafaam is our first S tier hero. Now, that is way, way, way too good for a hero that already excels in this kind of meta, and I fully expect that to be the case. Bru'kan, our first new hero. Spirit Raptor. After you call upon elements, this remembers it. Death Rattle, call other elements. For those of you that do not know this hero power, I'm not going to go too far in depth because, once again, we've done this before. If you haven't watched the patch review and whatnot, then there's a long discussion on this hero. The fact that you can stack Death Rattles on this makes this an S tier meme hero. I think you skipped a hero. What did I skip? But Spirit Raptor is an S tier meme hero. You can just put lightning on this thing repeatedly and proc it with Macaw and shit. Yeah, I love it. If you get Avenge units and you get to put a bunch of Death Rattles on the board, good shit, good shit. I'm pretty confident this hero is playable. It's a 2-star buddy. It gets you to a point in the middle of the game that you have decent tempo and you have a couple cheese lines. I don't think the meta is going to be defined by Bru'kan, but a playable hero nonetheless. Skipped Acazam? Yeah, except Acazam is not A. I'm going by this list. Acazam starts with T because it's the. His name starts with the. So I'm doing it in order of here so you guys can have the image on the screen. We also missed Baerov, right, before Bru'kan, but it's Lord Baerov starting with L. That's why I joked that this stuff is not in the right order alphabetically with this, because this is the actual alphabetical based upon the name. This is Ben putting them in order and labeling this one Baerov instead of or Lord Baerov. So we'll get to all of them. All right, Cthulhu. Tentacle of Cthulhu. Fuck off Cthulhu. All right, there you go. F tier. We don't need any more discussion. Cthulhu is not a playable hero in tempo metas, is not a playable hero in the current meta, and that is not a playable unit. All right, next one. Eudora. Yeah, Cthulhu Z tier. Cthulhu is bad. Very, very bad. Eudora gets a tribal 5/5 3-star minion or buddy. At the end of your turn, give a random friendly golden minion plus 5/5. Honestly, like all across the board here, these are usable things. Eudora is already a playable hero, but it's a greed meta, and Eudora is better in greed metas. The ability to take free 5/5s at the end of the turn when you guarantee a golden minion is going to make this hero, I'm pretty confident. Why is it a pirate? Yeah, I don't know why it's a pirate. It's a kobold. That's a pirate. Cool. But low curve Eudora tripling in the 4s may be a house. Because what you do is on turn 5, you discover a 4-star, a golden minion, a 5/5 that you can put on the board the next turn. The question is, how slow is the generation of this hero power? Are you getting this or this buddy? If you're getting this thing on turn 6, Eudora is going to be legit. If you're getting it on turn 7, it's going to be a lot harder to play. We will see. I expect Eudora to be very playable. Captain Eudora, where are you down here? Definitely playable. Okay. Next, Captain Hook Tusk. Ooh, this is a This is a new one for you. A hero that is a house in current meta, but got a garbage buddy. Hook Tusk is already really, really, really good. Why? Because you can fish for triples. You make use of tokens. Looks like you're going to have to be super tempo on Eudora. Yeah, as long as you get your buddy on that turn. If you get your buddy on that turn, then it's great. If you don't, then it's not great. It's going to come down to timing on buddies. This buddy here, 2-star, it's at least 2-star. You get a fish for triples with more efficiency as soon as you get it. You get to win fights early as Hook Tusk. I can't imagine Hook Tusk, regardless of your buddy, is really going to fall that far down the ladder. I don't think he's gonna or she's gonna be the be-all end-all best hero in the meta or top 3, but still up there. Like, I can't imagine that this is going to affect much. All right, let's go search for Hook Tusk. Oh, there she is. Still S tier, still fine, still perfectly playable. You don't have to play fully into your buddy, and the hero didn't get any worse, right? Carriel. All right, chat. No need to talk about this one. Gone. We're done. This is why we can move faster in this one. Carriel. At the end of your turn, give 3 friendly minions +1/1. You get this thing turn 6 or 7. You have an unplayable hero power, and your buddy is worse than average. Still F tier. Yep. Still fail. Just still F. Still fails. Chinvala. Now we get some interesting ones. Chinvala, a hero that's pretty polarized. I'm a big Chinvala fan. I know there's a few other top tier players that do like Chinvala to a degree. Now I would consider him like a C tier hero in this meta. A playable hero when nothing else really helps you with Shiny's Curve. But that is one fucking busted buddy. That is a busted buddy. Bob always offers an additional frozen elemental when the tavern's refreshed. AKA, you're just going to get offered tons of elementals that you don't even have to freeze for at the end of the turn. Chinvala's not in the patch though, got removed in patch notes. Yeah, but it just says at the beginning of the patch. It doesn't mean it's not going to be there very quickly. Like, it could be there quite literally within 24 hours if they hotfix it. The patch just got pushed before they could fix a bug. So we're still going to rate it. Generally speaking, I think Chinvala here is like the best hero we've rated so far. Like genuinely the best hero. Better than Rafam and Hook Tusk in its current form. It just says it will be disabled on release. So like, we don't know how long it's going to take to get Chinvala back. Cookie. Cookie gets what I think is one of the more overrated buddies in this patch. There are a lot of people that are saying this is so good. But realistically, it only affects the rate at which you're getting discoveries in the middle of the game. Now, don't get me wrong. Cookie is a good hero. This is the same thing. Like the Baerov conversation, the Hook Tusk conversation. Getting a mediocre or like a decent buddy for a good hero is still a good hero. You get extra value, it's faster value, yeah, but it takes a board spot. You have a 2/5 Murloc on your board in the middle of the game, and you get to generate half of an extra buddy per turn. Or a third of an extra buddy more per turn. Third of an extra minion more per turn. Like, it's like a third of a gold per turn. Sure, it's nice to get it. Sure, if you can level to 5 quickly, it's going to be good. Tempo spike? Not really. That's the thing. Like, you're going to get this thing about turn 6. You're going to get your buddy on turn 6, or you're going to get this thing on turn 6. You're going to get your second discover around turn 6 anyway. Now, on top of that, you have to keep a 2/5 on your board where you already have everything on the board better than a 2/5, which allows you to get a discovery on 8 instead of 9. That's the advantage you're getting off of this buddy. When you try to quantify how useful this is, most of the time it's not that great. You might get one on 5 and 7 if you can get it really, really early, instead of 6 and 8. It says 6 and 9 by default. Like, it's not that huge. It's good. It's playable. But it's because Cookie is a good hero. That Cookie is a good hero. Not because, like, this buddy carries him. Cookie, where are you? Right at the top. I'm blind. Probably A tier. Probably in this range. Still very playable. You could argue between the two. In fact, I think I'd pull it slightly lower. That's right around the range of Eudora. Like, okay. Somewhere in that range. A, B range. Somewhere in the range. B+. Yeah, B+ works. Okay. Daryl. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but Daryl's S tier this patch. Daryl's legitimately like, you just entered a tempo meta where Daryl's already an S tier hero. People just don't like playing him. And you gave him an additional scaling vector, albeit not a great one. But you don't have enough minions to fill the board as Daryl. And a hero that generates, let me put this on the board, a 3-star buddy about turn 6 that you can keep on the board through the mid game. You can get rid of it eventually, maybe. But like, a hero that is stable at 35 health on turn 8 is going to be an S tier hero this meta. If you could be 30 plus health on turn 8, you are going to consistently gain rating. And that's going to make Daryl a top 10 hero. Top 5 probably even. So I'm going to put you up there. Hella good mid game, but weak late game? Yeah, but the game doesn't last that long. Like, the whole idea of Daryl as a hero, and the reason why top tier players play Daryl is because you just get free MMR from playing him. Is he super exciting? And I really want to do this on stream all the time and make content out of him? No. Daryl's just nuts in terms of its win rate, because you can just force top 4s given any scenario, and when you high roll, you can still win the lobby because you just play the game like you don't have hero power. Hey, Bofur, this is kind of a dumb question, but selling your buddy cards doesn't put them back in the lobby, right? No, you don't. Unless, you know, they make a bug. It happened in the past where Rafam would steal cards, then put them back in the pool, and you'd end up with like a Sky Pirate or like a Curator bot back in the pool. But it should not occur that way. It would be a bug if it does. All right. Moving past Daryl to Deathspeaker Blackthorn. This is going to be a tougher one. Yeah, but S tier? Yeah, like, if I had to order them right now, Daryl's literally going to have the best average out of any of these heroes. S tier. Best hero in the game. Like, number 1 or number 2. We haven't gotten to the very end of this yet. But top 3 range hero in the game. If you're a person that's over here going, but I can't win all the lobbies, then you're not rating the heroes in the same way that I am. Which one gives you the highest average placement is all that matters when you're climbing. We have a linear scaling system for the amount of points you gain per game. Highest average placement is king. Period. And if that's the case, like, shit, man, how good do you guys think Daryl is in this meta? Like, I literally don't play Daryl on stream, but I play Daryl off stream all the fucking time. Daryl is quite literally the second highest average hero in the game by default at top MMR. Quite literally number 2. Has a tremendously low pick rate. But he is so fucking consistent. That doesn't change. And in a meta that's going to fit him even better than this meta, Daryl might be the single best hero in the game. We will see. There's some busted things out there, but Daryl is incredibly consistent and is going to be perfect for this meta if we predict the meta right. All right, Blackthorn. Now this guy, Blackthorn, decent in tempo-oriented metas and very good in power leveling metas. Now this meta is all about triples, right? Triples into Avenge, getting more minions on the board, and Blackthorn is really shitty at that. Why? Because you sell your shit off the board if you're going to power level. So you can't really play Avenge, and in a meta dominated by Avenge, well, Blackthorn doesn't fit. But now you get an extra minion. It gives you, after you gain a blood gem, gain an extra one. How many blood gems do you think you generate through the middle of the game? Golden Flat Tusk is 4 gems? Sure. But if we evaluate heroes, it's not typically on turn 12. Are they good on turn 12? Are they good at APM Pirates? No, it's how good do they, or how well do they get through the middle of the game, and do they give them yourselves the opportunity to high roll the lobby and win? And Blackthorn does that to a degree. This one is the one I'm probably the least sure about so far in this patch. If the game is slow enough, Blackthorn is going to be solid. If the game is fast, Blackthorn's going to suck. And I think the game is going to be a little bit too fast for Blackthorn. And with that in mind, he's just average. He's just okay. There he is. So we're going to put him right in the middle. He's something. Not a very strong opinion on him. I think he could fluctuate up or down 1 rank depending on how well the meta fits him. Banner board doesn't work. No, it doesn't add it to your hand. Basically, every time you gain a blood gem, as in like get one in your hand, get a different one. Yeah, it's not about late game scenarios. It's not about when your hand's full. It's about when in the middle of the game you can make use of this stuff. Like, not every buddy is a build around buddy, and this is not a build around buddy. This is something that allows you to skip past tavern tiers and level because you get good solid value out of this, and then you can play better units on average. Yay, 2 months. Yo, Steel Kira. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Deathwing. Hard one to evaluate too, right? Deathwing is incredibly good in tempo-oriented metas. This buddy, meh. This buddy makes it so that finding tokens is king for Deathwing. Already has been. But if you can level with the aid of Deathwing's buddy and then go straight to 5, especially in the right lobbies, right? The beast plus mech type of lobbies, you might be a pretty decent hero. But reducing the prevalence of going straight to 5 because of the tavern tier increase, and the fact that Deathwing himself still leaves himself open to get killed by anything that's even a ping unit, because you typically play small death rattle units. So the fact that your opponent doesn't have 3 extra attack isn't really a big deal here. D tier? I think he's much better than D tier. Deathwing, typically speaking, is always a tier 2 or tier 1 hero. In almost every meta. Like, even this meta, he's a low tier 2 hero. People don't like playing him, but he's still perfectly fine. And I think that carries over. In a tempo-oriented game, Deathwing's still perfectly fine. I don't love it, but better than that. Better than Blackthorn, better than Alexstrasza. Worse than these kind of guys. What, mate? Dude, like, I know there's a lot of people that don't like this kind of hero, but like, when's the last time Deathwing's been bad? There he is, right there. Right in this meta. Nobody plays him, but he's still an above average hero. And this meta is terrible for Deathwing. Like, the worst meta we have ever had for Deathwing. Deathwing has been a top 5 or top 10 hero nearly every patch. I don't understand what makes Deathwing good. Guess you don't. There's a lot of things that make Deathwing good. Deathwing is a top 5, top 10 hero nearly every patch. This one is the worst patch by a landslide on how good Deathwing is. And he's still a tier 2 hero. What does that say? This will be in YouTube? Yeah, this will be tomorrow's YouTube video because we don't have content for the first day. So I'm going to do the tier list. We got a long way to go, so we got to make sure we accelerate a little bit over here. Been about 15 minutes, gotten through what, 10 heroes? Yeah, 15 heroes, that's not that bad. Top 10, really? Man, I'm bad? I mean, this meta is a 4-month meta. If you didn't play before this 4-month time period, you might not remember how good Deathwing is in more tempo-oriented metas. What the... You want the dog cam even further away? It's not really covering anything. Nothing important. Like, it didn't cover anything important on the screen. The little M is super little. Here, let me get you guys, though. Here you go. Now, do you want that cam to be smaller? Can I see half a dollar? Oh, you're saying move it further away from her. Here you go. Like, this is much better. There you go. Look at those eyes. How can you say no to that? She's such a friendly girl. All right, we'll move it up, back up there. She can have her nose in the top right corner. All right, moving on. Yeah, Deathwing's legit in prior metas, and this one's just really, really, really difficult to play. And even with that, people still get decent results on Deathwing. Tempo-oriented heroes. A lot of people play for high rolls and they don't give a shit about tempo-oriented heroes. This is a tempo-oriented meta. All right, well, here's one of your big ones. Bran doesn't really need a lot of discussion. The real question for Bran is whether or not he's playable in lobbies that are not playable for Bran right now. Like, Bran in a double token lobby is going to be an auto pick. The real question becomes, can you play Bran when you don't have Murlocs in, for example? We're just expanding the amount of playable lobbies for him because this is a crazy hero power. Also happens to be one of the funnier ones to think about when it comes to how good Finley is as a hero. Because Finley plus Bran gets to play his buddy after Bran generates the, the Bran unit. So you get 2 eggs as soon as you get your buddy. Sure, it's a little bit late, it's a turn later, but you get 2 eggs that way. So yeah, Bran, no doubt about it. All the way up here. You could argue between him and Daryl, in my mind, for the best hero overall so far that we've done. These two together, I think Brand's slightly better. Very, 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 very good. Genie is a tier 2 buddy? Yeah, for real though. Taunt, Death Rattle, summon a random Battlecry minion and add it to your hand. Super nuts. Okay, I want to speak to the manager. You don't think Brand's that good? Brand is going to be a top 2 hero, top 3 hero range. All right. We don't need to spend forever on that one. That one's well known. Drekthar, new hero. Basically, you get to copy a minion's attack onto another minion for the next combat only, is the hero power. And then avenge his attack scaling. I don't even really care to talk much more about this. Just get down there. And while we're here, where are you, Vandar? Just get in the pile. I think Drekthar maybe is D and Vandar is F. Like, they're both F. These are just not playable heroes. Better meme builds on Vandar. Better prevalence of mech builds on Drekthar. They're both just bad. Just bad. You need like a perfect Divine Shield lobby for Drekthar to be okay. Pass. Not worth spending time on. What was Vandar? Vandar's exactly the same as Drekthar, except health instead. Like every unit just mirrors for health. You can always check out the full patch review if you want to see any hero with more description. Yeah, I'm just going to get that one out of the way up front. Edwin! Alright, well, Edwin's a top 5 hero right now, right? According to the vast majority of top tier players, Edwin is a top 5 hero. I mean, we showed an Edwin game a couple days ago. It's actually today's YouTube video. Like how simple it is to win games as Edwin. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't get a ton of firsts. You get a lot of second and thirds. But it's the same thing as Daryl. Edwin and Daryl are almost exactly the same in the way that they play. In a meta that is dominated by being strong in the middle of the game, with a minion that is effectively the same minion, you know? I don't see these things being that far off. So Edwin makes the S tier line as well. Now S tier is getting a bit full. Might have to make an S plus tier. I know Maev's going up there. Nah, we got 75 heroes. There's going to be a lot of things in these categories. But Edwin is legit. Edwin, just like Daryl, are going to be incredibly good in this kind of meta. Few too many S tier? We'll see. We can reorganize. But there are 75 heroes. We happen to get a bunch of them up front that are very strong. Top 5 tier? Nobody said top 5 tier. S tier. Alright. Elise, with her brand new, fun buddy. 3-star. At the start of your turn, recruitment map, or get a recruitment map and reduce the cost of maps by 1. That new map that you generate is also reduced by 1. So all of your maps, after you get your buddy, are going to be guaranteed 2 or less cost. Very cool design, very interesting. I'm not a believer in this thing being busted, like some people have said, but very, very, very playable. I think this is just like the easiest A tier of my life. Like just very solid. Very, very good. I don't think it matches the amount of power that you get off of these guys. Maybe I'd move it just slightly bent down. If we're going to say threshold-wise, I think Hook Tusk is a little bit below these 5. If we start, like, comparatively putting them, I'm just trying to reorder things like how good they are in these tiers. This probably drops down a tier. I remember Elise being good. Me too, friend. Me too. Omu. Now this is going to be a tough one. Omu's going to be very meta dependent. He might as well not even have this unit. A 4-star that generates a free minion means you get this on about turn 8. Which means you get a free minion on turn 9 in a meta dominated by other people having their buddies way before you is very scary. Like the idea that Omu may not even be a playable hero this patch. This one is like, we love Omu. Omu's great, but in tempo-oriented metas, Omu's not great. Not only that, but he has a very, very weak buddy for a tempo-oriented game. And Omu, I genuinely believe, is like C tier range. Like, not good in a gameplay or in a game plan where you can't level. Probably a free tier 5 minion, yeah, on turn 9. Good luck being dead and having a tier 5. Unless you can go to 6. I don't see that being that great. We will see. This could be wrong, but I don't see her being that strong here. Omu and Blackthorn in same tier makes sense. They struggle because the meta is going to be against them. And when people play for mid-game power and you don't have good value in the middle of the game, worse than Brukan? Yeah, definitely. Brukan's a very strong mid-game hero. And a good mid-game hero. Like, it's one of those things that you're going to look at this and be like, this thing can get first place more often than this. Yeah, I agree. But it doesn't make this average better than this. Like, this fails a lot. These guys are super consistent. And their average will reflect that. Like, if you can see a trend here, most of the minion or the heroes that are in the top half either A, have their own game plan, or B, are very, very, very strong tempo heroes. And Brukan is a strong tempo hero. Deathwing is a strong tempo hero. Alec here, Daryl, Edwin, even Rafam for that matter, are super high MMR, are super high tempo heroes at high MMR. Arana, Hook Tusk, Elise, Chinvala, Bran, Eudora, they're just like, these are your own strat type of heroes. They play the game in a way that is massively different than everything else, and they're going to be better than what everyone else can do in the game. Everybody else just kind of falls in a category of like, they're not busted enough to warrant picking. Alright, moving on. Flurgle. Flurgle's an odd one. Flurgle in certain metas is incredibly strong. When people play for all the same resources, or you're capable of her, yeah, good call. Basically, what you get as Flurgle is a late game minion that Battlecry turns all minions into Murlocs. Then, if you hold it, eventually, it evolves and turns everything into Murlocs. AKA, with Bran and this, you can make board full of like a bunch of Amalgadons, which is incredibly strong late game, if you can get there. And Flurgle is okay in the middle of the game right now. The question's going to become, is Flurgle okay in the middle of the game if he doesn't have a buddy? Because you're not getting this buddy till about turn 8. And if that's the case, even getting this buddy doesn't immediately recover for you. When you're on 4s are only primal fins, 100% agree. There is a lot of good there. But are you holding this thing for multiple turns till you get a 4-star lobby? It's not like you're going to have a bunch of primal fins in your shop. You're not going to roll a bunch of shops as Flurgle. Like, the idea that you can get a bunch of primal fins is great. But it takes like 4 rolls on average to get a board with 2 4-stars in it. You're not going to roll 4 times to be able to get 2 primal fins. You get your buddy when you reach that tavern tier? No. You generate experience over the course of the game. The higher the tavern tier of the buddy, the more experience it takes. So approximately turn 7 or turn 8 is when you're going to get this unit. So effectively, you have to play the middle of the game normal. Other people are going to get theirs faster, because everything is faster than this one to get, right? And then this has to recover for you. And if you don't get a good stability in the middle of the game, then there's no way in hell you're getting to a golden version of this. Seems like a tough draw. I think it's pretty tough to play this kind of card, or this kind of hero, at high MMR, which is what I will be doing my ratings based on. But overall, this high roll is incredibly high. I think it's a C tier. I think it's in the same range as this. Same problem. They're great if they can get through, but they're going to struggle in a meta that's dominated by things having better stuff on the board than them. But isn't this just when the Murloc strat starts falling off? But how does it fix it? All you do is make Murlocs on the board. So like, cool. But if you don't hit Bran or triple in the Sephin, you're still fucked. It's the same thing as before. Do you think games will end before everyone maxes their buddy meter? I think half of the people will be dead before people max their buddy meter. Especially the greedier heroes. Like the 4-star guys like this, if you don't hit, you don't get to your golden version. Now, 2-star heroes are almost always going to get to their golden version, which means they're always going to get a discover. Remember that. It's not just other people are getting their buddy. If we're talking about the mid-game and you're talking about a 4-star buddy, people are going to get their golden buddies and discover a 6-star a turn or 2 or 3 faster than you are. So you're going to have to compete with them being accelerating that hard in the middle of the game. It's going to be tough. I think these greedy heroes are going to have a very, very hard time recovering, especially greedy heroes that have 4-star buddies. Just my take. This is what I'm working with. All right, Galacrom. Battlecry, replace minions of Bob's Tavern with ones of a higher tavern tier, aka evolve the whole shop, which is going to accelerate your rate at which you get a hold of evolved minions. If you get 6 stars early, for example, and then you get a hold of this thing, it's going to accelerate your shop again. Overall, though, this is just a minion that evolves a shop. Galacrom is reasonable in this meta, and I think will still continue to be reasonable in this meta. Combine that with the fact that your minion is a 5/7 on about turn 6 or turn 7 when you're getting it, is going to mean that that's, you know, just a reasonable minion to have on the board. You don't have enough minions on the board as Galacrom anyway. So like a good stat line on a minion is a really good thing for Galacrom, because you usually just have garbage on your board as well. Whereas somebody like Cookie gets a hold of a buddy that they can't keep on their board, Galacrom is going to be thrilled to get an extra 5/7 and just throw it at the board. Like, great. I can replace a 2/1 with this 5/7. Or a minion slot that you didn't even occupy yet. That's a huge tempo pickup. Now that being said, I don't think Galacrom will be nearly as oppressive as he was before. But still a B range here. Good takes. We'll see. They're guesses, guys. This is guesses. I have my read on the meta, and we'll see what happens with it. But I could be dead wrong on this. Who knows? Am I streaming tomorrow? I will be streaming same time as normal. So I'll probably be starting about an hour or two after the patch launches. And we'll play for the evening. It'll be fun. Normal stream times all week. Galewing. Galewing's new unit, or new buddy. At the end of your turn, progress your flight path by 1. Very, very similar to Cookie. But the big downside is that your flight paths all have odd numbers of turns to complete. So in other words, to complete Ironforge route, it's going to take you 2 turns instead of 3 turns. You have a 4/3 unit on the board, but you get it relatively quickly. This is kind of the same analysis as Cookie. This hero was good before, it's still going to be good because Galewing is good. Now that being said, your buddy doesn't really fix anything or make it significantly better. So therefore, I don't think he goes up that much in terms of the scope of the meta. Galewing is a top 10 hero right now. And with that in mind, I don't think he stays top 10. He just drops a little bit because this isn't quite enough to compete with what other busted things exist in the game. Think you're going to go for the 5-turn flight path this meta? Oh, I hard disagree on that. I don't think there's any world in a meta dominated by mid-game power that you're going to do something that basically says do nothing. Gain 5 extra gold in 3 turns. Like, even if you just do Ironforge twice, you get back that amount of gold, or pretty close to that amount of gold. And you get minions off of it. It's a tier 2? That's helpful. Absolutely helpful. Absolutely helpful. Falls in the same category as Cookie. A little bit better than these kind of guys. A little bit worse than the things that are actually useful. Reasonable hero. Meh buddy. But top 10 hero is still a top 20 range hero, even without a great buddy. George gets Carl reunited at last. After you lose or use your hero power, your Divine Shield minions gain 2 attack. Yeah, okay. Turns out we don't have to give a shit about what we're putting on the board anymore. Let's just use our hero power every turn. Get a hold of a couple reasonable mid-game minions. Go search for like a Quillbore or whatever. Yeah, this is pretty good. Turns out tempo heroes and tempo metas out-tempo people. Now that being said, how good is this? Well, I mean, it's permanent attack scaling across a board full of Divine Shields. Can you put a Divine Shield on a minion twice? You may not, but you could target the shop now because it doesn't say friendly anymore. Your hero power has been changed on George to give a minion Divine Shield instead of a friendly minion. So you can just hero power the shop if you really wanted to just take the 2 attack buff. George, good. George, good already. I'm not convinced George is S tier. I don't think it quite competes here. Yeah, I'm lying. When you try to to quantify how good these things are. This is too consistent. By about turn 8, you're invincible. Same deal with Edwin, right? These are like the same kind of hero. This hero buys stats. This hero buys divine shields. They're basically the same thing. And you end up in a scenario where I think George may even be slightly better than Edwin in those kind of games. So you can give the Amalgadon divine shield before you bit. Yep. Before you buy. Before you bit. Yep, there's a few other niche usages for it. Alright, Grey Bow. Alright guys, buckle in for a 15-minute debate on the word summon versus played. Kidding. Whenever you summon a taunt minion, give it +2/2. AKA, whenever a minion is added to the board that has the word taunt on it, give it a 2/2. You buy an Acolyte and put it on the board? There you go. You get a death rattle off the Acolyte to a different, or a reborn to a different Acolyte, you get an extra 2/2. Everything is an extra 2/2. So in other words, Grey Bow is doubling down on the hero power. Yep, basically extra hero power. Tier S meme hero. Yeah, I mean, Grey Bow's a tempo hero in a tempo meta, getting a very useful tool for his board. Now it does occupy a board spot. Even during combat, it says summon, not played. So like anything it summons, just like the hero power wording. Any taunt minions you summon, I know you can't quite see this considering the screen, during combat, summon. So literally anything that's summoned gets an extra 2/2. I know I'll be annoyed by this. Yeah, it's going to be very strong in the middle of the game. You're going to get about turn 6, turn 7. And then death rattles are going to be a house in terms of tempo. Yep, good hero. Tempo-oriented metas. Very strong hero. We'll reorder eventually. Very, very strong. Guff. Baby Kodo. Maybe one of the cutest outside of Arthas. Of buddies. Just virtually unplayable though. Guff is the worst hero in the game, a one of with Cthulhu, and got a completely worthless buddy. Now it's not completely worthless. You can discover a 6-star. It'll be useful for that. It doesn't fix the fact that you're Guff though. Very strange buddy power. It's a 4-star and it gives you like a 6-star on the board, which is cool. But that's like a turn 8 discover a 6-star and you have to be Guff for the rest of the game. Like, that's not very good. It's not enough to warrant playing that hero. Guff and Cariel bad? Yeah, bad is still bad. Alright, moving on. Illidan. Alright, let me just... No explanation needed. Alright, next hero. Toki. Illidan actually is the most busted hero. Illidan quite literally is the best hero. And they're going to need to nerf him very quickly because this is not fair. This is a busted stat line, a busted card text that they probably should head off, because turns out when you add 2 extra board slots to your board that duplicate your minions and they can't take damage, yeah, that's gonna be strong. You don't even have to have a bunch of good minions, just get 2 good minions and they can attack multiple times. And it's a 2-star. Yeah, you're going to level straight to 5 as Illidan. Illidan's going to be that hero that gets a hold of a couple decent mid-game minions, now has the ability to level straight to 5, takes 20 damage, and has the ability to shoot for real end-game comps. Because Illidan is one of the best heroes in the game at late game. Like, absolutely one of the best heroes in the game at late game. Like, you win with Goldrin, you win with Exodia Pirates, you win with Omega Buster with such consistency if you can hit him. The problem is Illidan doesn't get through the mid game. He dies because his hero power wasn't that relevant. Well, now your hero power is fucking relevant. It's going to be scary. Absolutely scary. 2 poison game or minions equals GG. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Poison's fine. You're going to want them. Poison doesn't win the game on the spot. Poison has exactly the same problem we talk about all the time. Oh, would Golden be immunity for 2 turns? Yeah, it's 2 attacks. When attacking. Immune when attacking twice. Which is basically your first minion attacks, your last minion attacks, then the combat goes, and your opponent attacks once, and then your first minion attacks again with immune. But your last minion isn't guaranteed to get immune because, of course, it's in position 7 and it doesn't attack until 6 other things have attacked. But what if you have a Wind Fury in position 7 or blah blah blah? Yes, there's a lot of ways of getting those attacks. Super strong. Does Wind Fury attack twice then take damage the second time? Only with the original version of this card, yes. If you have a Divine Shield minion in position 1, it won't lose its Divine Shield. Because Immune doesn't pop a Divine Shield. Like, there's a lot of good value here. Auto mods taking some liberties here. I'm not being diligent about letting comments through. But yeah, Illidan is nuts. Absolutely my pick, be all end all best hero. Okay, Toki. I've heard people arguing this is decent. I don't buy it. Toki isn't great already. Toki's bad in tempo-oriented metas. All this is discover a minion from a tier higher. Yeah, I don't see it. I personally don't see it. I don't even see it as C tier. Like, if I compare Omu or Flurgle to this... Where are you, Toki? There it is. Covered over my camera. It's right there in front of it. Yep, I don't think she's really playable. Way better than this shit. But not great. Discovering a triple is cool, but it's not good enough. Only good thing is it's a mech. True, it is tribal, but it's a 3/3. That's hard to keep around. So it's basically a triple? Yeah, basically a triple. Nothing crazy there. Jandas, after you swap minions, give them stats equal to your tavern tier. Well, the one sketchy part about Jandas is that if you're playing token lines, you're not really using this buddy at all. And if you're playing for token lines, you're not winning combats that reliably either, so you get it a little bit later. But at the end of the day, it's still Jandas. The buddy isn't really a big deal. Jandas is still Jandas. I don't think anything changes there. As long as Seafood Slinger is in the game, Jandas is an S tier hero. Period. Like you saw our last game we played right before we started this. All you need to do is find a token in the first 3 turns, and then we just turned it into a blowout lobby. If Seafood Slinger is in the game, Jandas is still an S tier hero. Just swap the buddy. Here you go. Now this is pretty amusing with like the thought process of shit, who is it called? Was it Finley? Finley and Jandas lines and all that kind of shit. Gonna make for some funny lines. Why? Because Finley's buddy just gives you a copy of your buddy to your hand as a battle cry. And then you can swap Finley's buddy back into the shop and get another copy of Jandas's buddy as a battle cry. And give it stats, because you know Jandas's buddy. What stat does it have again? 4/4. Honestly, it's just like, it's good. It's going to make Finley, like, Finley version of Bran and Finley version of Jandas are better than the original versions of them. Kind of scary to think about. All right. Moving forward. Kael'thas. Not going to be in the game at the beginning of the expansion. As of tomorrow, until they patch it again. But after Verdant Spears triggers, give your hand and board +1/1. The problem here, I've seen a lot of people really like this one. The problem here is it's 4-star. Yep, it's a 4-star. If this was a 2-star or a 3-star, definitely a 2-star. This is a top tier hero. But the fact that you get this about turn 7, on turns where you're going to be spending a turn just leveling to give random 1/1s to your board, it's cool. It fits a lot of comps like mech builds and whatnot that like the cycle shit. Kind of like what Edwin does. It kind of does a better version of Edwin's hero power. Like this is basically a better version of Edwin's hero power once it's online. But what makes Edwin great is the first 8 turns. Not being able to do Edwin things turn 8+. Hand buff seems fun. Yeah, I mean, it's something. It's something. Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference to be hand, because things like microbots can be in your hand, and then you put them on the board and combine, so it doesn't have to, or it can double count those stats and such. There's a little bit of value there. APM Pirates. Yeah, I mean, APM Pirates is something. But Verdant Spears is really bad for APM Pirates. And assuming that still crashes the game on reset. Not great if you're going to optimize Hog or APM if you disconnect. Overall, I think that's just kind of weak. Now, Kael'thas is good in tempo metas. I think Kael'thas will be fine because, you know, tempo meta. But not great. Still pretty weak. Good for APM pirates, you just have the same problem. If you can't APM or firewall disconnect for APM pirates because it's going to crash the game, then you're going to get less stats by having that thing on the board, especially if the animation's long, than not having it at the board at all. It's kind of like having a flat Tusk on the board and you think, oh my god, APM pirates. But in practice, flat Tusk makes you a weaker board than no flat Tusk on APM pirates. Why would it crash the game? It does. It has for about a year now. If you firewall disconnect with a Kael'thas or a Slysssa or Chinvala, and then you complete your next orb, it crashes the game. It freezes. Everything freezes. On PC, at least. Before next hero, can you say why Edwin's up there? You just go back. I talked about it the whole time. I'm not going to repeat for one person. Sorry. Yo, Mukla. Yo, Dekkster. Okay, I can't read. Thank you for the 4-month, Dekkster. Appreciate the support, dude. Mukla gets the crazy monkey. Mukla gets a monkey. It's a 2-star, means you get it super early. On top of that, you get 2 bananas per turn that now give an extra 1/1 to whatever you use. This is an extra 2/2 a turn. This is like getting Kael'thas hero power every single turn. Not only that, but you're putting the bananas on things that are useful. Tempo and a tempo meta. What about Big Banana? You get an extra 1/1 on that unit. It has a tribe. True, it has a tribe, but it probably didn't stick around for the whole game, so like it being tribal isn't that important. It's nice if you get a jug or a mug in the middle of the game or whatever, it can help. But it's going to be the same thing. If you're playing demon mech kind of lobbies, you can play Mukla because you can build big tricksters or you can build big pup bots. And now they'll be even bigger because of the crazy monkey. It's a tier 2, so quite literally playable because of that. And it plays directly in your game plan. Rafam curve monkey playing for tempo, using a couple bananas early, and then trying to hoard some, then taking a huge power spike and leveling every turn straight to 4 is just going to be a very consistent line. It's already a consistent line in the right lobbies. And the meta is going to fit Mukla a little bit better, in my opinion. So therefore, pretty good. Mukla gets to be an A tier hero. Monkey tier, A tier. All right, moving forward. We're about halfway through, right? Sure, approximately. Yo, Aldarius with the 7 months. Appreciate the support, dude. Yeah, Monkey's gonna be legit. Hoard bananas till you get Divine Shield, except you get Divine Shields reasonably, right? You don't play them unless you have mech or demons in the lobby, and you get them on 1 anyway, because you're a Fom curve. Kurtrus. This is gonna be a hard one to gauge, because Kurtrus is incredibly good in tempo-oriented metas, but if the meta is not as tempo-oriented as we think it's gonna be, then Kurtrus falls off a little bit. Now, the Living Nightmare, on the other hand, it's also a very hard card to evaluate. Across the board, this is like a big question mark. Kurtrus, after you buy a minion, minions in Bob's Tavern have 1/1 extra this turn. Not great, because most of the time you're only getting a 1/1 or a 2/2 extra for it. Now, that being said, Kurtrus playing Kurtrus game plan was quite literally a top 5 hero prior to the overhaul patch 5 months ago. Will we have something similar to that? And if that's the case, doesn't really matter how bad your buddy is, Kurtrus will still be good. Now, this buddy's pretty bad. It at least is a 2-star, so you get it early. And I'm not convinced Kurtrus is going to be like the be-all end-all best way of playing the game right now. Dude, this is why anything on the left side is invisible to me because my camera's right there. I think we're dealing with like a high C tier type range for Kurtrus. This could be easily be A tier though, if the meta shapes up to be really tempo oriented. Bad and boring equals no pick. I mean, boring isn't boring to everybody. I think tempo strats are very interesting to optimize. Just doesn't make for fun, flashy boards. And if you're a competitive player, then that's not important. Lich Bazal gets Floating Watcher. Gets Floating Watcher. Whenever your hero would take damage, this hero or this minion gets a 2/2 instead. So better Floating Watcher. Mal'Ganis Watcher. Malwatcher. At the end of the day, this is a 3-star unit buddy that you're going to get about turn 7. It's going to allow you to force Wrathweavers with very good consistency. Really, it's just like a self-contained game plan that you get a scaling minion that's going to scale at a rate that is faster than Gold Grubber that you get in the middle of the game. You can force demons, play for tempo. Probably pretty good. If demons aren't in, Lich is going to be bleh. But the fact that you don't have 10 extra armor definitely brings Lich down a peg. Lich is a top 10 hero right now, right? But you take damage in the early game because you don't get this till about turn 6. Now with Lich, you're going to win a lot of early rounds. If you get a hold of Wrathweaver as well, you're going to win a lot of early rounds, you know? Which means that you get this relatively quickly. Should be a demon. Doesn't have to be a demon. Demon tribe doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't help at all. Scales Wrathweaver, I guess, when you play it the first time. But yeah, Lich is legit. Lich has a self-contained game plan that is very solid. I don't think it's up here with S tier range, but like very similar to Monkey or Greybow that are very, very strong mid-game heroes. Lord Baerov. If you guys remember my review on Lord Baerov, I basically said that this buddy sucks. It's just not as good as some of the other buddies. That being said, Lord Baerov is a top 5 hero in this meta, and that's not going to change. Baerov is nuts, and the ability to take an extra 6 to 8 gold or whatever in the middle of the game is still really important. Do you sell it off the board? Yes. Do you get an extra 6 to 8 gold? It's like taking an extra turn. It may not be the perfect buddy, but Baerov's already an S tier hero, and the buddy is useful. That's the logic, and that'll always stay. Like Jandis, Hook Tusk, already S tier heroes. This one didn't get that great of a buddy. Jandis is slightly better. Seafood Slinger exists to make Jandis the best. But there's no doubt in my mind that Baerov is an S tier hero. Legitimately S tier. So we have what? 9 heroes in S tier range? We'll reevaluate if we want to pull 1 or 2 down a slot. But I mean, of these, Rafam maybe? Like, there's a big difference between Illidan and Rafam, right? Like, in the same range, same tier, but a big difference between them. So we try to reorder a little bit. Something like that, maybe. Make an S plus tier and reorder it. I mean, we could do an S plus tier for just like Illidan. Like, that's really the difference. Like, I don't see that huge of a difference between like Bran and Jandis. They're all really, really, really solid heroes, but Illidan is just nuts. Like, this is just not, this is unfair. This is an unfair tier. All right, moving forward even further. Lord Jaraxxus with his buddy Killrek. I've seen people rate this as high as like tier 2. I fail to believe it. I've seen top tier players put this as really, really high. Basically, you get the ability to get a single Death Rattle Doomsayer as early as turn 6. But you are still Jaraxxus. It is a demon. You can play for Wrathweaver lines. It's another genie. Yeah, it's a little slower than Bran's. It's also not as good of a Death Rattle. But this in combination with Doomsayer still existing in the game can be a lot of early triples. Jaraxxus is good in a tempo meta. I'm not a hater on this. I'm not a hater on it. But I don't think it's up like... I've seen it up with like Hook Tusk and shit. I fail to believe that. I think it's playable. I think it's completely playable. We will see. We're going to need some help here. Alright, Maiev. For those of you that don't know, Maiev gets win the game as a hero power. Hooray, I for one welcome back our Maiev overlords. No, that's not that busted. Not compared to like Illidan. Illidan's is nuts. This is like one nut. Battlecry, your next hero power makes a target golden and awaken 1 faster. super good. So long as you get this at a reasonable time, about turn 5 or turn 6, that means you get a turn 7 or 8 golden minion that generates a triple. Very, very, very strong. Very strong. May not be Brand strong, may not be George strong consistency-wise, but very strong. Not Illidan strong. Now let's play Spot the fucking Maiev. Oh, there you are. Why were you over there? I like it. Me too. I think it's better than Baerov. I'm reordering for the sake of reordering here. I like it. Yo, Ganny with the Prime sub. Oh, thanks for the kind words. Thank you for the 2 months. All right, moving forward. Maev's busted. Malygos also busted. Look at all these strong heroes. Arcane Alteration replaces a minion with 1 tavern tier higher. AKA, we get like pseudo Galacrom level value here. Not only that, but you can hero power twice a turn, so you can turn a 4-star into a 5-star into a 6-star on the same turn. Not only that, you are Malygos. Malygos is quite literally a top tier hero already. The best hero on average this patch. And got a very usable buddy. Top tier hero, good buddy, S tier. That formula just holds. Alright, Malygos makes the cut too. Might have to separate this a little bit. I'm a little bit like, this is meh. These are bad by definition here. And these are unplayable. Almost unplayable. Who made that a 6/6? It's just good, dude. Like across the board good. I don't know. Seems imbalanced to me. Master Win. Well, Master Win's a top tier hero. And then got a buddy that really doesn't do that much. Womp womp. Neutral 3/6. Doesn't get a lot of value. But Master Win's still a good hero. And he'll continue to be a good hero. That's a really weak buddy, right? Like really, really weak buddy. Like that doesn't occupy a spot on your board after like 1 turn. How many hours to the update? 17. 17 hours to the update. I personally I'm not a huge believer here. I'm going B tier Master Win. Could be A, low A, high B, somewhere in that range. Lay, more like lame. Yeah, you should show yourself. All right, well, Millhouse gets what is probably the highest of high rolls for this meta. Millhouse gets a buddy, which effectively allows you to cycle minions on the shop. And if you can go to Tavern 6, you win the game. But that's the problem, is that you can't go to 6 easily as Millhouse. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can go to 6 and survive for 2 turns, you win the game the vast majority of the time. Will we be able to do so, especially with Millhouse being a hero that needs to be able to level a little bit more aggressively in a lobby where people are going to play more tempo-oriented stuff? SSS plus Ultra in my heart. The high roll is the high roll. Like, nobody's doubting this. If this was a what makes the most absurd boards consistently in the middle of the game, Millhouse is number 1. But Millhouse also has the downside of, like, you can die pretty easily trying to do this. You can still fill the shop with trash. I mean, it's still 1 gold to just buy and sell a 6-star. And then just buy the other 6-star. And when Murlocs are in, for example, and Dragons are in, you can hit Hamul, Calicos, Amalgadon, and Seafood on 6. And just all triples going forward, right? You just fill the board with Calicos and Amalgadons and Golden Seafood bullshit. Like, if you can get the 6 and survive 2 turns, you win the game. It's just over. Like, it's just fucking over is what it is. But you have to get there. And do I believe people are going to get there? Yes. Do I think that Millhouse is going to be one of those heroes that people complain about a lot because they ignore the low rolls and see the high rolls? Absolutely. Do I think he's the most busted hero? No. I think he's significantly below everything that's in S tier there. I think he's well below Jandis. Yeah, I don't agree with that now. So if we're pulling that, Chinvala goes down one. Let me reorder for a minute. Definitely lower than Illidan, Bran, George, Maiev. So he makes low tier 1 by comparison. Baerov kind of makes the cut. We're starting to pull things down from tier or S tier just because, you know, we only want like 10 things-ish to be up here. So the question becomes, does Edwin or Daryl not compete with this? On average, they're just way too good in this meta. Both of these guys have the same rule, which is just dominate the middle of the game, and people are going to be dead before you start taking damage. And that average is going to be absurdly high. Malygos has to high roll to get online. Millhouse has to high roll to get online. Jandis has to high roll to get online. Baerov has to high roll to get online, right? Like the average suffers due to the nature of being able to, like, your peak is way higher than Daryl's. But Daryl's range is like this, right? Millhouse's range is like, you know, let's see. Where are my hands? Over here. Is like this gigantic gap where you can easily get low placements. Daryl, you'd have to completely fuck up playing this game not the top 4 as Daryl in a tempo-oriented meta. And when your average is now always above 4, like, think how many heroes in this game have an average that's better than 4.0. Like, this is our current meta. Whoops. I need the full screen. Full screen! Don't do this to me. There you go. Literally one hero in this meta has better than a 4.0 average. Literally one. And that's where we're placing things like Edwin and Daryl right now, is that they're going to be consistent top 4ers. And that's hard to justify anything being that much better than that. Now, Illidan is nuts. Bran's going to be nuts. Maev's going to be nuts. Like, these are busted tier. Like, Illidan and Maiev are kind of busted tier. George, these 3 are like the most consistent mid-game heroes in the game. And they're going to be incredibly oppressive, especially if you get multiple of them in the game. They're going to kick people out real quick. I think Millhouse and Malygos, like, these 5 are super good, but they have a lot of variance associated with them, which brings them down. Millhouse is more busted? Yeah, Millhouse's high roll is high. That doesn't mean you always get it. The high roll, like, this isn't a debate on who wins the most lobbies. This isn't even a debate on, like, who gets to win, or whatever, the highest of high rolls. This is a who gets the highest average placement, which is all you optimize in Battlegrounds if you're trying to climb. And I don't believe it. I believe Millhouse is incredibly good. I'm giving him a top 10 placement. I just don't believe he's as good as what George and Daryl will be able to consistently put out. I would order it maybe something like this if I wanted to be like exact ordering. Like that, maybe. All right, let's move forward. Millhouse is nuts. Now, Maleficent gets a top spot in my heart because this is going to be my favorite meme build to play this patch. Baron plus Kangors plus killing off a bunch of squirrel bombs. Death Rattle. Deal 4 damage to an enemy minion. Repeat for each mech that died this game. That's nuts. That's absolutely crazy because you can just build full mech boards. Suicide this in position 1. Like, this fits a Mega Buster, right? Like, a Mega Buster boards. Use Suicide a Mega Buster and Squirrel. And resummon Squirrels into Mega Busters with all of those Death Rattles with Baron on the board. Meme tier for sure. Best of meme tier, but I think generally speaking pretty decent too. Just very strong. Super, super, super fun meme build. But it's like being given Golden Bomb every game. Better than Golden Bomb, right? And once you get the Golden Bomb, typically speaking, you do very well. Like, there's a lot of builds that can play around it. Guide this combat, not this game. Yeah, I mean, combat's still fine. That's what I should have said. That's what I'm always referring to. Not this game, but you can get upwards of like 20 to 30 bombs thrown by each squirrel with a decent Death Rattle mech board. Times 2 for Baron. casually dealing 20 plus 4 damage attacks in the middle of the game. Yeah, this is going to be funny. Do I think it's good? Yes. Do I think it's actually really good? Yes. Because you now have a mid-game consistent value for playing mechs. And you also have the squirrel build, which the squirrel, once you get it, as long as you have a mech or two, is going to be incredibly easy to draw or win rounds. There you are. It's hiding from me. You get A tier. Maleficence gets A tier now. Very strong tempo hero. Not the high rolls of, Jandis and Hook Tusk, but like very consistent and very strong. Need to see the build right now? Me too. Mr. Bigglesworth. Mr. Bigglesworth is a big question mark. There are some people that think this is going to be very good. I am not one of them. At the start of your turn, get a plain minion from the lowest health opponent's warband. AKA generate a minion every turn. We love economy. It's a 2-star buddy, so you get it quickly. But I'm not sure this, in a tempo-oriented meta, stops Cat from dying in 8th place repeatedly. Patch will be out in about 17 hours. 1 p.m. Eastern. Beautiful. Buddy. Don't think it's good. I like the buddy. It doesn't fix Cat. Not unplayable by any means, but falls down in the category of like meh tier. Put it at the bottom of C. DC range. Somewhere in that range. Mutinous. Now, Mutinous has got to be top 5 most interesting buddies. Whenever you devour this, spit its stats on the 2 extra minions, aka triple the stats of this unit on the board. If you land 1 decent spit, that's a lot of stats dumped on the board. Even if you don't, and you just get this thing turn 7 and eat it immediately, it's a plus 15-12 to your board. That's pretty good. Remember when you said this would take only over an hour at the beginning of the stream? I did not say that. I said 2 hours. Come on, dude. Remember the quote at least. I said it wouldn't take... I was trying to fit it in about 2 hours. It's only been an hour so far. We started at 7:15 and it's 8:23. I think we're fitting 2 hours pretty perfectly. Aw, if you're going to give me shit. I wanted to finish by 9 or 9:15. Gotta at least give me shit on something that's real. God, I can't make up numbers on me. But yeah, Mutinous, pretty legit. Good tempo hero in a meta that's dominated by tempo. And on top of that, it's a good buddy. This is things we like. Good hero. Not busted, but strong. N'Zoth gets baby N'Zoth. Now, you can theorize on this one all you want. It's a 4-star buddy. Make a death rattle golden. Super cool if you triple into a 6 and you get a hold of like a Goldrin or a Mega Buster. But of the broken things being introduced in this game, this one's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to get there to a 6-star. Anything that's below that point is pretty tough to justify. Your entire buddy is like, yay, I can make a golden Highmane. I mean, Highmane's a good minion. But like, you don't get a triple off of it. You don't get a discover. This feels like it's really good if you get a hold of exactly 2 things. And it's really meh. Like way below average for a buddy. If you don't. So that means like 20% of the time you might get it. It says make a friendly minion golden so you won't triple? Of course not. Friendly minions are on your board. You wouldn't triple off of a thing that's already on your board. So in other words, it's like renoing your unit, right? Gold the fish. Fish doesn't have death rattle on it. I mean, N'Zoth is an okay hero. This buddy is a high roll, but doesn't consistently help you. Therefore, C tier. It's meh. It's meh. It's not this bad, but it's meh. Nothing to write home about. Nozdormu. With a funny, interesting hero power. Minions in Bob's Tavern have 1/1 for each time it's refreshed this turn. Well, we haven't seen confirmation on this to my knowledge. I don't think anybody played Noz during the playtest. But your first board is refreshed at the start of a turn. Does that give you a 1/1 naturally? And if it does, then your next board gets a 2/2. And from the middle of the game, you're basically getting 2/2 to 4/4 extra stats from every minion you buy. And if that is the case, you give quite a few stats in the middle of the game. You give yourself the economy of the extra free rerolls. And if that is the case, then that's a lot of stats. Is it interesting? Sure, you get extra choices as Nas. Nas is always an interesting hero. You used to only really get economy off of him. Now you get stats too. Imagine if this is Ellie's and free rerolls. Yeah, imagine APM Ellie's with all of the free rerolls on Recycling Wraith. Imagine APM Pirates. Now, Hoggers is funny because you don't really buy anything and leave it on the board. D tier's kind of looking unnecessary. These are well below this threshold to me. This is unplayable. This is bad. This is like tolerable. Good, strong, busted. I think Nas is fine. So then puts him in the B tier range. Playable, not overall like a busted hero power. You don't play into it to too high of a level. Good in elemental lobbies. Actually very reasonable. I'm going with B, not A. I'll reorder the tiers eventually, but B tier range. Saurfang. For the Horde also grants health. If this was a 3-star or a 2-star buddy, this is actually legitimately good. But it is a 4-star buddy. And that just neuters Saurfang. You already have set up half of your board before you're getting this. It's great that you get to give a plus 10 health to a microbots that you get to put on Deflectobot. But it's so late. Like, that's turn 8 before you get any value. And you're already not a great hero. It's so good as an effect. It just needs to be like a 3-star buddy. And then this is like a B tier hero. But without it, I'd play it over the garbage. But I wouldn't play it over this kind of stuff. Why not buff bad heroes? They did, some of them. Chinvala is literally in our top tier range. Mukla jumped up a bunch. Arana jumped up a bunch. They just hit or miss on some things. Saurfang was a top 15 hero prior to the overhaul patch. Saurfang doesn't need help in tempo metas. Excuse me. That being said, giving him one of the weaker buddies didn't help. Patches. It's a huge tempo spike. Give a minion +1/1 for each pirate you played this game. Cool. Absolutely cool. So you play like 10 pirates before this point, or 8 pirates before this point. Take an extra 8/8. Not something you build around, but tempo in the middle of the game to give like a Rip Snarl or something, +10/10 or +8/8. Very, very strong. And if you can level up to 4 aggressively and start taking triples, then we all know what happens when you get the APM pirates. Pretty good. Absolutely pretty good. Tempo-oriented meta Patches excels at. Good hero. Decent buddy. I give him high B tier. High B, like around what Cookie and Alakir and whatnot would be. Good. Not busted. Not to the level of like these guys. In fact, if I'm going to start reorganizing a little bit here, then we could start pulling things down ever so slightly. So we're basically settling. As there get to be more things that are toward the top, we're pushing things down a couple levels. Any of these guys not great? I don't know. I don't see N'Zoth as really playable enough. Cat is really playable enough. And we're just kind of pulling things down. Brukan really C? I think he's fine. But if you're trying to keep these as like reasonably similar sizes, S, A, and B, it's one of the ones that really falls out of that range. I think Brukan's fine. Meme builds are going to be great with it. But like, Kurtrus is a perfectly playable hero too. There's just a lot of playable heroes. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do in this game. As long as you aren't just forcing, like, go for first strats. There's a lot of good things you can do. Alright, Patchwork gets basically a stop loss. As you start losing health, you have the ability to play a battle cry where you're not going to lose rounds for the next couple rounds. That's pretty good. That being said, it's on patchwork. If this was on a different hero, it'd be a much better battle cry or better buddy to buy time, because why do you need to buy that much time as patchwork? It's not like you get online. You just kind of wait to die. Guess you can wait a little bit longer. If you wait a little bit longer, things will die in a tempo-oriented meta. I'm tempted to rate this thing super low because I find it really boring. But I think it falls in C tier. Like, it's reasonable enough in a tempo-oriented meta. It's just super boring. I don't want to play this. Pyramid. It's my sleeper pick. Pyramid's my sleeper pick. Give a friendly random minion +4 health over the course of the game in a tempo-oriented meta. And whenever a different friendly minion gains health, this one gains it too. This thing might be okay with ARM. Absolutely might be okay with ARM. This thing is legitimately fine. The fact that you are going to create a minion over the course of the middle of the game that can benefit from all buffs, can play ARM comp, can play for things that are effectively decent mid-range value in a tempo meta. Now, I mean, it's boring just like Patchwork, but it is a certainly playable hero. Bottom of B tier range, top of C tier, somewhere in that range. That is a lot of health. You have the ability to basically push a button and add 8 health for 1 gold most of the time, 7.2 gold or whatever, or 7.2 health for 1 gold. And every time you play an Argus, every time you play a Jug, every time you're talking about this thing getting to a point of being like a 640 within 3 turns. And if you can taunt it up and ARM, it's Party Rock strat. And you don't have to force Party Rock to do it. And that's going to be decent in this meta. It's like the 5-star elemental card. Yeah, to a degree. You have to build around it a little bit better. But it's a reasonable unit. Until you hero power and hit the minion every single time? Yeah, it's just a 1 in 7 though. I said 7.2 stats or so. 6.8 stats. Wag Toggle. Elder Tagawag. I've seen people theorize tier 1 strats with this. Ben, I think you're wrong. Yeah, I don't see this as playable at all. Sorry. Trash. That being said, I'd be happy to be pleasantly surprised. Completely and utterly unplayable. IMO. Ragnaros gets the double end of turn effects. Unfortunately, for our boy Rag, it's a 4-star minion. Double D, F minus, S, B, A, B. End of turn effects are cool. Rag is really bad in tempo metas. Yeah, it is tough to argue getting your hero power turn 7 into this effect on turn 8, that this will somehow make Rag not a tier 3 hero. It's so late in the game that it doesn't matter that much. Be nice if I had a tribe. I mean, it'd be nice if I had a lot of things. It's not tribal, it's a 4-star. If this was a 3-star minion, this is a tier, a B tier hero. But a 4-star? I don't know, dude. I don't buy it. I'm not playing him. Plus, I hate Rag, so I'm biased. Rakanishu. I'm sorry, Rakanishu. I guess you're gonna just forever be an F tier hero. At the end of your turn, give a random friendly minion stats equal to your tavern tier. Complete shit. Wow, an extra 4/4. Can't wait to do that. I'm sorry, Rakanishu. Reno. Reno is Reno after all. You still have Reno's hero power. Death Rattle, or is 3-star hero or minion. My god, I keep saying hero power. 3-star minion. Death Rattle, make your rightmost minion golden. Remember, not permanent. You get to make a minion on the board golden. Cool. You get to temporarily make a minion on the board golden. Cool. But in the middle of the game, do remember that you've already golded something. If you have a really nice minion on that board, like a Witchwing, and you're like, damn, this is really good with a last position Witchwing. You've already golded that Witchwing. Why the fuck would I care about golding the Witchwing too? Oh, we could gold this thing and it turns other things gold. Yep, you can. This doesn't help that much. Now, Reno's already a good hero, but Reno's a low tier 2 hero. Reno's in this meta is not a tier 1 hero. And it's going to be a worse meta for Reno. Do I think he's worse than Deathwing and Nas and Galacrom? Maybe not quite that far. Yeah, probably about that far. Golden version golds the right 2 rightmost units, yeah. Trying to reorder a little bit here. Okay, I think that's all right for me. Basically, Reno fits somewhere in the lower part of B tier. Playing Pirates, you can make Tony temporarily golden to make other stuff permanently golden, but other than that, yeah, I mean, there's little things here and there. Like, you can put a Baron on the board late in the game after golding something else and have a golden Baron. But then again, you're taking a board spot with a 7/3 unit to be able to turn something golden. And it's just a bad minion. Chad Baron golden? Yeah, but like, for the turn. And you have to keep it on the board. You can't really play like true Exodia Pirates if you're going to keep this thing on the board and it has to die first. Like, it's just kind of shitty overall. And you're not going to keep this through the middle of the game and suddenly make it something really good, like making it a golden unit. And it doesn't have taunt. Yep, doesn't have taunt. There's a lot of reasons it's just meh. The unit is meh. Reno still has Reno's hero power. Alright, Savjz is going to be a super high variance hero, where you can do all kinds of busted things by stealing buddies from other people. Tony or Sephin, I mean, same idea. Easy to taunt? Yeah, but like, you're occupying a board spot. If you Argus it, cool. That makes it almost playable, but you're still occupying a board spot in the middle of the game with a neutral 8/4 taunt minion. Like, it's not even worth the board spot to gold something. Unless you had a really, really good synergy on something that you've already elected not to gold because you golded something else. 7/3, yeah, well, if you Argus it, it's 8/4. Gotta add the points, the stats for the Argus. Alright, moving on. Savjz. At the start of your turn, add your next opponent's buddy to your hand. Now, you can't predict this. You can't play it after the fact. You can't steal like only the things you want to steal. You have to leave a neutral 4-star 4/6 on the board to get something next turn. Randomly. A lot of buddies aren't going to be useful to him. Now, that being said, Savjz is already a really good hero. Can play the economy incredibly well. And not only that, but there's a lot of busted stuff you can steal in this game. I don't think Savjz goes anywhere from the top, but that buddy doesn't really help him much. Free gold? Nope, never makes a board spot. Yeah, a lot of people are ignoring the fact that like turn 8, turn 9 or whatever, where you're going to get this 1 free gold, there's no value in a random 4/4 or 6/6 or whatever sitting on your board. You already have every spot as way better than that, and the 1 gold for it, it's just not that good. It's just not good, right? Like 1 gold to occupy a spot that makes your fight way worse. Yay! Hooray for me. Like, a lot of these buddies are just so unplayably bad. It's like the same logic as Reno. That if you play a really bad minion on the board, you're sacrificing 5 to 6 health for that turn. And if you're sacrificing 5 to 6 health for 1 gold for next turn, that's rarely worth it in the middle of the game. Alright, Savjz is good. Savjz will always be good. Let's continue. Shudderwalk. Now, Shudderwalk is an interesting one, because Shudderwalk's leveling curve has changed. In double token lobbies, Shudderwalk will still be a good hero, for sure. But not because of the buddy. The buddy is after a minion, or you play a minion, add a random battlecry minion to Bob's Tavern. Not really that great of a buddy. It's an interesting one. It's gonna be really funny, like really, really funny on Finley. Like really, really funny on Finley. Because your hero power on Finley generates extra minions or extra buddies from other people. Because your Finley buddy can bring this up for just a second while we're here. Is literally add the buddy of your hero power to your hand. So when you redeem your 2 little Shudderlings on Shudderwalk, you're going to generate 2 more of that battle cry, and you're going to instantly have the golden version of Shudderwalk's buddy. I'm not sure why Shudderwalk doesn't have a buddy on this page, though. Interesting. Loses armor, can't level to 5. Hero goes down to D. Yeah. Don't think he just auto wins the lobbies anymore. But I think Shudderwalk is still playable, especially in like the lower curve triple in the 4 line. Don't think he's quite D tier, but like playable C tier. Perfectly fine. Not bad. Not great. Alright, Silas is legitimately good. Hear me out. Birth. After you buy a minion with a Dark Moon ticket, gain 1 gold this turn only. AKA, you're just going to buy up every ticket and play Demon Sorrowlisk. Like, if Demon Sorrowlisk is in, you're just going to sit on 2 and buy every last ticket. Because you're just straight up buying minions that scale your board for effectively low, like half of a gold. A third of a gold, 2/3 of a gold. Over and over and over and over and over. What's up, Sway? How you doing? And now you can just stay on 4. Silas is already on 2. Is already one of the single best Demon Sorrowlisk heroes. And now you have the ability to put this shit on the board, and every ticket you're buying is generating you gold. If you have pirates in, then you have the ability to buy gamblers with tickets on them, or discover gamblers to get 3 gold back out of it as well. You get the right Demon Sorrowlisk lobby, like Demons, Beast, and Pirates in, and you're gonna legitimately have the opportunity to like see 10 plus boards a turn, or 8 plus boards a turn. It's gonna be crazy. It's a lot of stats. Better get that Kathy quick. I give Silas like a legitimate A tier range. Like, very, very, very strong here. It's just, yeah, APM demons is what it is. Sindragosa. While I love this design, this thing's super cool. At the end of your turn, add a random frozen minion from Bob's Tavern to your hand. It is still super late in the game. And at least you get to put a 5/7 on the board. About turn 6, turn 7. You have a decent start because you're Sindragosa. And you can just directly target what you want to be added to your hand. So it gets a buff and then adds it to your hand. Those are all good things. But you're still Sindragosa. You are still playing this game from the standpoint of, I don't really have a hero power that helps me win the lobby. C tier? I don't even think it makes it to that far, personally. There's also the funny caveat that you cannot freeze triples on the board anymore. No, don't get me wrong. It's not the end of the world. But my god, that's going to cause some huge frustration. Because, read the card text. You add a minion to your hand at the end of the turn. If you're freezing for a triple, and you freeze the whole board even, you accidentally get that thing added to your hand at the end of the turn, it creates the triple, and then you go in the combat without the minions on the board. Enjoy! Now, don't get me wrong, that's only like a 20% chance, but a 20% chance to take a massive amount of damage is still a major downside. Isn't this better than Maiev most of the time? Yeah, but you get it about turn 6 or turn 7, and it's like a slight value, and you have to keep a 5/7 neutral on the board to be able to do it. Is it good? Yeah, but can you imagine this being on your board past turn 9? So your justification to pick up Sindragosa is that for turn 6 and 7 and 8, I get to target a minion from the shop to buy it for 0 gold. You get to buy 3 minions from the shop, delayed a turn by 1 gold, and that's your hero power. That's the hero you're playing. Compare it to every other hero and go, yeah, I don't want to do this. As much as it's like, okay, it's better than this shit, it's nothing. It's just nothing compared to real hero powers in this game. Little bits of value here and there. Finley. Finley's funny. Finley gets to discover from 3 heroes. There are a lot of busted interactions. Finley gets to be better versions of certain heroes. But Finley is still, at the end of the day, going to be in the average range of heroes. Slightly above average Finley. Like a 4.2, 4.3 average. Finley isn't S tier. You don't get to always be the S tier heroes. You get to discover from the 3. Feels slightly better. It's a better version of Shudderwalk. It's a better version of Jandice. It's a better version of Bran. But it's also, you know, offered the garbage. The other things. I think they'll have it made so you hold the copy and the triple combines after next combat, otherwise it would be bullshit. Yeah, that's not how this game works. I would bet a lot of money that that is not how it works. It says at the end of the turn. We will see. They could have hard programmed it. But that's not the way this game works, mechanically. That whole argument that they won't do it because it'd be bad doesn't hold. Logic-wise, it doesn't hold. So you have to make the argument that they quite literally redesigned the hero and the mechanic in a way that would make it so it's playable. I doubt they did an overhaul on the mechanic just to enable Sindragosa. Just gonna put the triple in your hand, you're gonna get smacked in the face. Yep. That's what's gonna happen. That way now you have to freeze the whole damn board and get a random minion 80% of the time. Which isn't even that good. Would have said at the end of combat if that's what they meant. You would hope. You'd think so. Yeah, I don't expect that to change. Crag. Shark bait. Now this is nuts. Crag is absolutely gross because the amount of gold from your hero power does not reset after each time you use it. So in other words, when you use your hero power in the middle of the game and take like 7 free gold, then you power spike. Then you get shark bait. And by the time you get shark bait, it's going to be about 8 or 9 extra gold. Really, really, really good. Now it is a 4-star minion, which means that you're going to get this thing a little bit later than normal. And the tripled version is super late, right? Like turn 11, turn 12. I genuinely don't believe it's as broken as most of the S tier heroes. But it is super, super good. Like top of A tier. It's really easy to see this and be like, you could get upwards of 40 free gold in a turn or in a game. Yes. But when do you get the 40 free gold? Like Baerov is quicker to get online than Crag is now. Now Baerov, the big advantage for him is that you have a lot of gold flexibility in the early game and you're really strong and take early triples. Crag is great. I think Crag is really, really, really good. I just don't buy him being on par with these other guys. Definitely not in the top like 3 or 4. Very, very, very strong. Maybe overreacted a little when I thought he was incredibly busted to start. I've settled a little bit on him. Sneed. We're almost through. What are we at? We've got half an hour left for my timeline. Battle Cry. Copy of friendly minions' death rattles. Okay. Cool. There's some funny meme ideas. The idea that you can have like Bran and copy in a Mega Buster. And then when you get the golden version, or the other, like the 2 later versions, that you could potentially copy something. Like the idea that you can potentially like duplicate an effect with like Bran or whatever makes it interesting. But at the end of the day, what you have is a useless hero power and an okay buddy. That's kind of hard to justify. That you can get like Bran plus this, target Goldrin. Then you get 2 death rattles on this. And then you can get the golden version and target Goldrin again. And get 2 more copies times 2. And you could have like 6 copies on the same unit. Now all death rattles will be on this guy. And then you could trigger it with Macaw and make huge boards. But do realize that means you have to delay using this thing super far into the game for a line that is not going to survive long enough. Plus you have no hero power, effectively. It's going to be pretty tough to use. Second best meme buddy Yeah, I don't think most heroes that you can't play are good meme buddies because you just die. So it works in one comp. Yeah, I mean, like, people are theorizing high rolls for it, but the overall value is just super low. Tamsin. At least it's aptly named. This is a monstrosity of a buddy. Non-permanent scaling is bad, it turns out. Same problem as Tentacle. After a friendly minion dies, gain its attack. Great. Good thing it only has 12 health as a neutral permanent minion on the board that resets to 0 every combat. Cool. They never really fixed the bottom like 5 heroes, you know? Like, you just kind of stuck them all with bad shit. We're just going to call them bad still. Tavish, holy shit. That's a lot of battle cries. Tavish is going to be nuts. Tavish is like the king of tempo. Tavish is actually like Daryl tier tempo. Your ability to get crabby, where you fire your hero power, deal 8 damage, and give a 16/16 buff to the board. That's it. Right there. That's the important part. Everything else is kind of meh. Who cares? You just got the ability to deal like 8 damage mid-game and give a 16/16 buff on the board. Everything else, whatever. Zap hard counter? You mean targeting the zap? Yeah. Pretty good against it. A lot of ways to defend your own board, snipe key minions on their board, but also the huge factor is that Krabby is just busted. Krabby scales Terracosa, yep, absolutely. Terracosa Crab comp is going to be strong. You don't even need to get like promo drakes and go wide with whatever the fuck it's called, dragons. Does 0 damage to George? Sure. Not good against one hero. Not only that, though, like, it's not a question of, like, each individual combat, how good Tavish is. If you can get good value over the course of the mid-game, especially with Terracosa, it's absolutely nuts. Like, you just end up stacking stats, and you're just a better Promo Drake Terracosa board, and you have a relevant hero power, and you have a good minion, and it's tribal. How's it work with Illidan? It probably doesn't do anything at all to Illidan. Then again, who knows? Both of them are start of combat, right? If you could go first and snipe the Illidan minion before it gets immune, that'd be very funny. A counter to the best hero? Yeah, Illidan's gonna be nuts. We'll see. Genuinely believe top tier. Somewhere in the range of like here. Okay. Almost through this. Tess. Alright. Hate me if you want. Tess is trash. Tess has such cool interactions and fun things to do, but Tess is going to get run over by every other hero in the game. This game is going to get too quick. You have the ability to do all kinds of super cool things. With a 4-star buddy that doesn't do shit when you play it, you better steal some pretty good buddies or you're just going to die because you have no value in the middle of this game and everybody else is a better hero than you. Now, if you steal early buddies that are really good or whatever, cool. A generous D? Generously a D. Well, she's significantly better than playing like AFK or Carriol or whatever. It's a very generous D right there. Curator. And Mismash. Honestly, this is one of the top 5 heroes that I'm most looking forward to playing. The idea of creating like old school amalgam boards, very, very cool. That being said, A close to S, exactly my read. Super good, but not as busted. Not as busted as this. Like the S tier is actually just like things that are unfair. Just unfair levels of busted. And then this is like, these are all super good strats, and you're going to be very happy playing them. Generous D. It's quite a name. Is that your real God-given name? Is that on your birth certificate? Edwin seems fair. Yeah, not in a tempo meta. There's a reason why Edwin is legitimately a top 5 hero in this meta, and it's not even a good meta form. Wait, you put Edwin S tier? Yes, sir. Absolutely. Daryl, Edwin, and George do the same job. They almost guarantee top 4s in tempo metas. And that's what we're going to turn this shit into. There's going to be 2 or 3 people high rolling in each game, people getting obliterated, and your Daryl's just going to be sitting over there laughing, and your George is going to be laughing, and your Edwin's going to be laughing as they just take positive points. It's going to be one of those metas where electing to play for third in a lot of games is going to be very, very, very strong. I think Curators number 4 with Illidan, Bran, I mean, can you even put it even close to those? I'm late. How is Chinvala A tier? Because of the new hero or new buddy. If you don't know the buddies, you're gonna have to go back and look for it. Edwin's my top win rate. Yep, Edwin's like number 3 on my win rate this season, and it's not even a good meta for Edwin. I know Beater has him as like the number 1 hero, and he was rank 1 multiple times this season. I know Victor rates him top 5. I'll wait for the YouTube video. It actually will be tomorrow's YouTube video. Chinvala's buddy is just really busted. That's what makes him really good. Yeah, I'm doing this for tomorrow's YouTube video because, well, quite frankly, nobody's going to want to watch old gameplay the same hour as the new patch comes out. But somebody out there may care about background noise for the tier list. I think Curator's absolutely gross, but I don't think he's quite this gross. In fact, I would put him like the same level as Millhouse. I don't know. This is hard for me. Like, maybe they both make S tier by that definition. Maybe they both make A tier. Like, they're just not quite to the level of these 3 for consistency, or these 4 for consistency. Tavish fits the same bill. And these 4 for high rolls. Like, these are just so incredibly strong. I guess Illidan's both. Illidan's just broken. Illidan gets the top spot because he's fucking immune, okay? Illidan is immune. He doesn't take damage. He wins lobbies. It needs nerfed. Alright, Acazam. And the buddy, Street Magician. Death Rattle put a random secret into the battlefield. I've seen a lot of people try to argue this is good. Very good players arguing this is good. I personally don't believe it. But yes, Jedion. Acazam is always good, and in tempo metas, Acazam is even better. So, like, it's really a question of, is Acazam an S tier, or A tier, or a B tier hero? The Street Magician I don't think is great, but Acazam is nuts in tempo metas. Acazam right now is a top 5 hero. Do you guys play Acazam? Statistically, top 5 hero. I lied. I'm a liar. He's a top 6 hero. Only 17% pick rate, just like Daryl's not picked by people. But legitimately, a top 1%. Top 6 hero. And it's not even a good meta for him. That's what's crazy. How often can it pull Ice Block? Just once. You can only get Ice Block once a game from any method. Like, there you are, Acazam. Acazam's still A tier. Probably toward the higher part, or at least middle portion of A tier. Boring, sad, but still A tier. Let's not give up the integrity of the list just because you don't want to play it. It's that good. It should probably be argued to be close to S tier. Like, it's kind of the same thing as Daryl. Acazam and Daryl do a very similar job. S tier? Disrespect? Yeah. It's one of those problems, like, I rate Patchwork low, but it's probably because I just don't want to play him. Just like I rate Acazam low, because I don't want to play him. But he's so good when played correctly. Alright, Lich King, S+ tier. Let's just, like, real quick, add a row above. This one's called Arphis tier. Okay. Right, real quick. This is Arphis tier. No, but Arphis, the cutest of Battleground buddies. Look at that little guy. Look at that little guy. Reborn, your other reborn minions summon an extra copy after dying. 2-star buddy, super strong tempo. It naturally has reborn on itself too. So, like, this is a lot of tempo in the middle of the game. the ability to get an extra reborn off of stuff is a little bit lackluster. Now that being said, if you reborn an egg with an Arthas on the board, that is a ton of tempo. The ability to get 2 reborn eggs, and this thing is already a 4/3 reborn 4/1. This thing's nuts. Incredibly high tempo. Do I think it's busted? No. Arthas is good. But Arthas is just good. Arthas is fair and good. Not busted and good. Fair and good. My Exner Reborn? Sure. Late game value too. Space issues? Absolutely. Like if you think about all the Reborns, typically speaking, you don't have that many open board spaces. But things like, if you got a hold of Baron, Genie, plus Arthas, you would just clear your board and reborn the Genie. And you can laugh as you generate a handful of elementals. Free Khadgar as a buddy, still pretty good. Like, quite literally, think about like those kind of combos in the middle of the game. If you got a Genie, Arthas, and Baron on the battlefield, you would quite literally create upwards of 6 elementals free in your hand in that turn. Like those kind of things, when you have a damage cap, can be really, 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 really strong mid-game pivots. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's busted. He just has very good lines. Lich King is already a good hero, and this is an above-average buddy. A good hero with an above-average buddy is a good hero in the new meta. It's very similar to the idea of like Baerov. A good hero in this meta with a good buddy. When you give good and good, it's gonna be good. Khadgar Arthas strats incoming. All eggs. Let's go. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about Lich King. He's gonna be fun to play. Oh man, the Pigeon Lord. Rat King. Your refreshes cost 0 while your tavern doesn't have the minion type of your hero power. It'd be great if you got this earlier in the game. But by about turn 5 when you're getting this, free refreshes, if you don't get a minion type, it's a little bit tough to justify on a neutral 3/4 to be on your board. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's like almost having Nozdormu's hero power each turn. And at the end of the day, you're still Rat King. So, like, no. No, I'm not going to do that. Not as garbage as this stuff. Not completely unplayable, but it's not enough to warrant keeping it. C tier? C tier. Ticketus. Alright. Before you guys, all buddies neutral. Nope, some of them are tribal. Before you guys act like you're forgetting something, Bofur, what about those really busted tickets? Those really busted prizes. The prize pool that you pull from for this hero or this unit obeys the turn number. AKA, if you play this buddy on turn 4, 5, 6, or 7, you will always get a prize from 4. If you play this thing on turn 8, then you can get an extra prize from turn 8. So you're effectively making an argument that buddy itself in the middle of this game is going to give you an extra turn 8 prize. And that by itself makes this hero busted. I think Ticketus is an okay hero. I think this is an okay buddy. But okay plus okay is not very good in this meta. Decent with Bran? Yeah, but by turn 8, how many times do you have Bran? 3% of games? It's just meh. It's like, this is fair. And it's just fair. That's it. It's okay. Great. C tier. Next. Wait, do you discover the same 3 prizes or different ones? Different ones. Like you're just getting a different discovery. Kind of like when Ticketus used to have 2 prizes offered during prize meta. But everybody's like, with Bran and Terracosa, though. Yeah, exactly. If you find exactly the right unit. Some of them are busted, but their average isn't going to be great. Bilgewater Mogul. I'm actually a little bit surprised on this one. They gave a good battle cry to Gallywix, and Gallywix is already good. So basically, in the middle of the game, you usually have like a 14 or 13 gold turn, where you buy and sell a couple minions, which easily could mean that you have like a 15 or 16 gold turn. giving yourself a casual plus 15 buff in the middle of the game to stabilize Is Gallywix on a hero whose hero power might as well read, if you get to turn 12, you win the lobby. That's pretty good. And considering Gallywix is already a very good hero given the right circumstances in the lobby, yeah, that's pretty good too. Absolutely nuts with APM Pirates. Completely unneeded on APM Pirates. Once you get to infinite, you're infinite. But the ability to play on about turn 7, a free 12-12 or 15-15 buff, is really, really, really good on a hero that just needs to stabilize the game. Make the Tony you discovered strong enough to not die? Yeah, same idea. Protect a minion, win the next round. Why is Gallywix so strong late? Because compounding effects in the game cause you to get to a state where you generate more gold than you use. That compounding effects such as Tavern Tempest and Bran and whatnot generate gold each turn. And you go from like 14 gold to 16 gold to 18 gold to 22 gold to 25 gold to 30 gold the next turn. And you get to a point where you're really just saying, if I get to pick what minions I want on my board, can I beat somebody? Hogger plus minions, Gambler plus whatever, Bran plus generated minions. Like, you get to a late game state and you just win the lobby. If you play it well. Like, this hero has an ultra high first place rate. Honestly, I have absolutely no problem putting Gallywix right back up in S tier. Given the right lobby, the ones where you play Gallywix, Gallywix is still S tier. Very helpful. I mean, it was my best attempt at a description without going further into it when we actually play it. It's kind of hard to do in a vacuum, right? All right. Only a couple more. Vandar, we don't have to do because we skipped it before, but yeah, Vandar is garbage. Vol'jin. Now, honestly, this one's going to be very hard to predict. I could see Vol'jin legitimately being a top 15 range hero. The ability to create a big attack minion via Chroma Wing or whatever, putting it on Gadrin, and then just creating a board full of Divine Shield 40 attack minions will probably be just like guaranteed top 3 range finishes. The ability to just make Deflecto boards with 40 plus attack can win lobbies. Get a hold of Mech Roll, whatever, in your house. Yeah, Dragon Mech, this is a top 3 for sure. Yeah, it feels like really, really, really strong. You just get a Chroma Wing early, and then you fish for Divine Shields. You go up to 4 very quickly, just kind of like Jeef curve straight to 4, and then every Divine Shield you find just gets to copy the Chroma Wing's attack. This minion doesn't have a type though, but you have Vol'jin's hero power. Why does this thing need to have a type? You get a Chroma Wing, you swap it with something in the tavern, you then level straight to 4 and you have 40 damage on it. You swap that into Gadrin, and then just place your Gadrins beside your mechs. Suddenly you have a bunch of 40 attack Divine Shields. Demon Terracosa? Yeah, Demon Terracosa makes an interesting line too. Because you effectively have a ability to put a bunch of attack on a minion too. Terracosa with actual attack, yeah. It doesn't really fix the problem, to be fair, with that build. It makes it a little bit better. Alright, we gotta place this somewhere. I think Vol'jin's A tier. We have a lot of A tier. Kind of hard to have this many A tier units. Probably should pull a few down toward the end. Zarella. Aside from having the second cutest of buddies, it's no Arthas. I'm sorry. Say that to baby Elix's face. You're no Arthas. You're no Arthas. Alright, I can't do it. It's like being mad at Dumbo. After you play a minion with attack equal to its health, gain 2/2. You get it quickly. This minion on the board is very, very, very strong because it passively scales while you do shit. It allows you a little bit of time to level without taking too much damage. Great. All good things. But Zarella's already a good hero. And a good hero with a good buddy, especially a 2-star buddy, is a good hero. It's hard to take away the fact that Zarella is a playable hero already. Very, very tolerable. Consider it B. I would consider it B too. High B. Need a cute minion tier list? Well, obviously, that's tomorrow's plan. Yes, Sarge. Almost done. Whenever you summon a minion of your current tavern tier, give it 4/4. Honestly, I want to see this one. It is very hard to gauge whether this is good or bad. It already plays Shiny's Curve very, very well. You get a hold of this about turn 7. And that means after that point, you can push your button for a 4/4 buffed minion, or just replace a bunch of shit on your board with like 4 stars with extra 4/4s. It's like basically playing a Mama Bear for a tavern tier instead of a Mama Bear for a tribe. I'm excited for this one. Me too. This one is super interesting design. Now that being said, I'm not convinced it's busted. I think it's good. It's good. Not busted. Good. Are you gonna hug the camera, girl? There you go. Look cute for a second. Hi there. He's a cute dog. Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think it's busted. I think it's good. Right back up there in the B tier. Alrighty, alrighty. Alright, well, Yogg is something else. For those of you that don't know what the spin the wheel of Yogg Saron is, it's a big random effect that does a bunch of good shit. You get something good regardless. You either get, on a 19% chance for each of the following, your hero power triggers twice for the rest of the game, aka push your button and steal 2 minions from the shop. Steal all minions from Bob's Tavern, aka add them all to your hand. Consume all minions, like a Firebat effect from Bob's Tavern. Or, what was the other one? What's the other 19%er? Shit, somebody out there's got my back. And then there's a 4% or 5% chance that you get the bouncing Pyro buff. No, Pyro buff is the 5%er. Oh, yeah, 3 random Dark Moon prizes is a 19% chance. And that's going to be of your Tavern tier or below. So, like, if you use this on turn 6, 3 random Tavern prizes from turn 4 isn't very good. Or a 5% chance of the Pyro buff, which is a random effect that bounces on the board, can target any minion in the shop, on your board, or you or Bob, and gives 4/4 buffs, and bounces repeatedly to a new minion or a player portrait until it hits either you or Bob. If it hits you or Bob, it stops. So basically you get somewhere in the range of like 20 some stats. 20 stats range. Added to the board, your board, or the shop. You're just obligated to pick Yogg now. I think it's all good shit. I don't think it's bad. Yogg's hero power is fine. This is just kind of fair, right? It's good. It's random, but it's fair. The buff one doesn't seem that strong. Yeah, you get like 12 free stats or whatever. 20-ish range average. Some of it on the board where you don't want to buy it. It's okay. The funny thing is now you can freeze the board too with the buffs. Yeah? I mean, I assumed it would work like that. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yogg's going to be random. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. And then, if you get to the late game, he actually is one of the more interesting hero powers. Because pretty much everything, or the buddies, on the tripled version, because you're just going to sell this off the board, right, and get 2 more of them later. By about turn 12, you could get potentially Tavern or Dark Moon prizes, which will all be really good by that point. Consuming the Taverns, good stats. Adding minions is good. Like, all of it's pretty good toward the late game. So, like, it's okay in the middle of the game and really good late game. Which is interesting. Plus, it's a Murloc. True, it's tribal. I think it's fine. I think it's fair. Very RNG heavy. Ysera gets deleted from the game. Okay, cool. No. Ysera, in its boring pseudo-OP form, gets a boring and meh dragon companion. It is tribal. Dragons in Bob's Tavern have 3/3 buff, which is fine. But Ysera's still Ysera. Ysera can still Terracosa promo Drake things. At lower MMRs, Terracosa is incredibly strong. This buddy is not great. It's an extra dragon, which helps with the promo Drake buff. But it's not something you keep around for very long. It probably gets an extra 6/6 to 9/9 over the course of the mid-game, which is going to put it way below the average of a buddy. Most other people's buddies will be better. Ysera is going to be a hero that I still won't pick on stream. I don't think this makes her any better. Just one of those things that, like, it's even more streamlined on how to play it. And it's still going to be super oppressive at lower MMRs because it's passive scaling, right? Super good. Probably worth some thought. Whose golden power hits early and closes things out? Yeah, not really. The middle of the game is way more important than late game when you talk about overall average placement. Late game isn't that important. By that point, what you've gotten on the board is way more important than what your buddy does. Ysera is still B tier, but I hate Ysera, so we're going to put her in C tier. Get wrecked. At high MMR, she'll be significantly weaker. And last but not least, Zephyrs. In this crazy ass, fun hero power, put that shit in D. I hate Ysera. I just dump her down in F tier for that matter. This one is really interesting and has a lot of play where you can do different things around it. Now, that being said, that's going to be tough to evaluate. Virus. Battlecry. Discover a plain copy of a minion that you have exactly one of. You're basically turning your hero power into a better version of Reno. So effectively what you can do in the middle of the game is triple into a 5-star. Then position your board in a way that Virus is going to turn that newly discovered 5-star or 4-star into a second copy of it. And then push your hero power button. 3 gold to be able to repeatedly do that over the course of the game. Getting a hold of a golden Bran on turn 7 is very achievable now. Getting a hold of a golden Nomi. Plain copy of a golden Amalgadon? Plain means not golden. B+ over by patches? I think this is a very good high roll hero, but once again, Zephyrs doesn't bring a lot to the table in the middle of the game, and I would agree. Somewhere in the B range. Alright. That covers it. Let's take a look back at our list. There you go. That is everything. Let's start rearranging a little bit real quick. So question, when you play Battlecry, so you have it when the Battlecry goes off, do you have it? I don't know, honestly. We gotta see how Virus actually works mechanically. You could get a vanilla copy of a golden minion you have, right? Exact wording is discover a plain copy of a minion that you have exactly one of. That would make sense. You get a plain copy of like a golden acolyte that's on your board. We will see. We will see how that one works. It's hard to gauge. I don't see it being completely busted regardless. Alright, so you have the what the fuck tier. I'm not sure why Illidan is in Illidan form, but we're going to leave that there because what the fuck? You have Bran, Maiev, Daryl, George, Tavish, Edwin, Malygos, Gallywix in the range of S tier. Top tier heroes. You basically have these in 2 categories. These 4 right here are super consistent tempo heroes that in a meta dominated by those mid turns like 8 to 12 are going to be very, very consistently strong. Then you have ultra high roll Maiev, Bran with a genie on turn 5, Malygos to shoot for 6s and win the early game, and Gallywix with his ability to stabilize and potentially get the late game. I think Gallywix probably goes down a tier from this point, because when you compare it to everything else, it doesn't quite do the job of the other high roll heroes to that degree. With that in mind, it brings up the question of, does anything move up? I don't think Curator gets to the level of tempo of these guys, but I think Millhouse probably gets to the level of high roll of these guys. So the question becomes, does Millhouse's variance, where he just doesn't get to a state that he can go to 6, make him not a S tier hero? And I think this is the one that's like right on the borderline. That like, it's great if you hit it. And we can't just skew our ratings based upon, oh my god, the high roll's so high. Millhouse's B tier? Yeah, I think the I think the dragon lobbies are going to disagree with that when you can just level to 6 and win the game. But we will see. Borderline's always round down. I would agree. I think I like that philosophy. That something like this is B tier. It kills me to have Jandice in B tier. Jandis is just so consistently good. Rafam, Baerov, Lich King, Chinvala, Hook Tusk. Feels like there's a little bit of a gap there. Like Scab's a little higher, Elise a little bit down, Mutinous a little up, Mukla a little down. I don't know. Arana feels good too. I think Greybow goes down, Mukla goes down. Elise is good. I think Maleficent, I think these are all solid. Like everything that's in A tier feels like they're way above average to play. Anybody going up from the lower tier? Maybe Deathwing? Maybe Cookie? Maybe Reno? Maybe Deathwing? Maybe Finley? And I'm going to call him top of B tier. So anything below that point, maybe Eudora. Eudora's pretty consistent. Let's work with that for a second. And maybe they go up slightly. Nas? I don't think Nas is even close to that. Nas is fair. Nas is not that level of broken. Elise may go down too. That what we've given here are basically every hero that has the ability to play the game to its own win rate, like its own game philosophy. You effectively have Deathwing, which is just the house and tempo oriented metas. Eudora's high roll. The mid-range bot build. Mid-range mech builds. Tons of stats, tons of stats, tons of stats. Like Silas and Arana are the same hero. Both of them are just Demon Sorrowlisk bots now. Never pick Edwin over Millhouse, Gallywix, or Jandis. Too bad. Maybe that's why you're hemorrhaging rating. Now, Edwin is a top 5 hero right now by a good margin. Like, that's one of those things that just having your opinion on a specific hero is perfectly fine. But having your opinion shifted by what you enjoy more is detrimental here. Liking to play a certain strat versus what is better on average. There's a reason why Acazam is up here. There's a reason why Edwin's up here. There's a reason why Daryl's up here. Whether or not you like playing like that doesn't mean that when played optimally, they aren't S tier heroes. Like Acazam easily could be argued to be S tier too. Finley's going to be so broken with Buddy's update if you use it with Bran. Yeah, so? Is its average much better because you can get Bran? No. It's great in like 8% of lobbies like that. Absolutely agree. There are certain heroes that it's very, very strong with. But that being said, like the unit Bran is not easy to get a hold of unless you're the hero Bran. And the unit Bran itself, way too good. There's a couple heroes that are going to be really busted on Finley. Shutterwalk's one of them. Jandis is pretty good. Bran is super good. And once you get into those situations, like that skews it up a little bit. But Finley's average is almost always consistently 4.3 to 4.4. The fact that you can hit 3 heroes on about a 10% chance to skew it up to like, you know, a 4.0 on those 4 heroes doesn't justify it being that significantly of a better unit or better hero. Funny things will happen this patch will be funnier than in previous patches. Oh, there's a lot of new stuff. Yo, Patolov. Thank you so much for the raid, dude. Shout out real quick. Thank you for the raid. Thank you, my dude. Appreciate the support. And welcome on in. We're finishing up a tier list here real quick before the, you know, the night before the patch. We're super excited. Yeah, people can disagree pretty hard. Yeah, F tier is just what the fuck tier, just on the other side. Agreed. You're more than welcome to disagree with the take. But it's one of those that, like, if I showed you statistically at top 1% what are the best heroes right now, you'd probably sit here and disagree with us too. Like, do you believe Acazam is a top 6 hero? Do you believe Daryl's the second best hero? But statistically, they are. And why are they? Because you get consistent high averages off of them. And when you have a linear scaling system for a ladder, where you get the same amount of point difference between a first and a second and a third and a third and a fourth and a fourth and fifth, then all that matters is your highest average placement. Like a hero could get no first places and still be the best hero in the game. Let's fight tomorrow night. Let's do it. AFK is one of my favorite heroes, but the buddy makes me sad. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Tough one. Can't wait to see some weird interaction between buddies and some unexpected things. Oh, absolutely. There's going to be some things that we completely overlooked, and it's going to be amazing. Let's move down a little bit. I think Mookla's pretty solid for B tier. I think... Oof. There's a lot of good heroes. Like, a lot of these things... I'm not convinced I like Reno over most of these B tier heroes. That's crazy. To think that, like, just because Reno's buddy is so weak, that I consider pulling him down to, like, C tier. And put things like Mookla and fucking Pyramid and Yasarj above him. I don't like Reno's buddy. Yeah, the idea that you can just gold one thing in the middle of this game may not be enough to pull Reno up to a top tier, or like a tier 2 hero even. I wouldn't be surprised if Reno's like a high tier 3, like a 4.6, 4.7 average. Be crazy. Yo, King Corny with the 4 months. Appreciate the support, dude. But yeah, I will still argue, I think Pyramid's significantly better than what people are giving him credit for. That the ability to land one Argus and an arm or whatever to guarantee top 4s, like, you're basically playing the game for tempo the entire time. You get to push your button in a tempo meta. And then you can build arm into it. You can just have this thing on the board as like a middle of the road, middle of the game battle master. That really stops you from taking bottom finishes. Yeah, it's not going to be a first place hero. It's going to be very much like Daryl. What's your personal favorite on the F tier? Probably Drekthar. I think Drekthar has a place. I'm not confident it's good enough to even play it. But I think Drekthar with the mid-range mechs is very reasonable. Kind of like Sarafang in the way it works. What's Illidan's buddy? Illidan's buddy gives your wingman, aka your original hero power, the text immune for while attacking for 1 charge as well. So basically your 1st and 7th position minion for Illidan, their first attack, they don't take damage when they deal damage. So you give 2 free attacks every combat for free. It's gross. Would you consider Kurtrus B tier? Yeah, it's pretty close. You could argue some of these things up a little bit. It's going to come down to averages. When you have the right kind of lobby, Shudderwalk's still going to be fine. I think I'm going to pull him up slightly. Man, that feels so weird seeing like Omu and Brew Khan and shit down here this far. But look how many heroes there are. And you look at something like Omu now and say like, man, why? People are like, we did Omu super early, right? Because Omu's earlier in the alphabet. And what's Omu's original name, like first name? Why was it super early in the alphabet? I forget. Regardless, we did Omu early and people are like, oh my god, A tier. Now you're over here at Forest Ward, and that's it. Now you're over here looking at the rest of these heroes and going, or at least I am, like, I don't want to play Omu over like 40 heroes in this meta. That's crazy. And Omu used to be like a top 5 hero. Like, I'd pick Maleficent over Omu in a heartbeat right now. Crazy. Hype for tomorrow? Absolutely. Why is Lich A? Lich Bazal and Arana and Silas all have like their own... Right, Lich King, you're saying? Oh, why is Lich King A? Because Lich King enables a lot of mid-range lines and offers a ton of middle of the game tempo. Like the fact that Arthas has reborn itself and you can target something on your board to create 2 copies when it dies is going to be a tremendous amount of mid-game power. And I think a lot of people are overestimating how good late-game hero powers are in this meta. That a ton. Oh, you think it's S tier for Lich King? Interesting. Good take. I think it could be S tier. There's a ton of value in tempo in a game where there's only going to be half of the lobby or so shooting for the moon. Now, a lot of these heroes play into their own game plans, and their own game plans are like mid-range fights. So are you going to get to a state where Maiev high rolls the lobby, or the top 4 are going to be Daryl, Illidan, Mutinous, and, you know, Rafam or whatever. Now nobody's an ultra scaler, and somebody's got to win that game. I wouldn't put Lich King above Gallywix, though. Yeah, I think that I like my order right now. I'm perfectly fine with Lich King being that high. I'm fine with Hook Tusk falling a little bit. I think Savjz is good, too. That maybe I have him a little bit low. Early economy is really good, after all. And then the heroes like Slysssa and Arana, they're really, really high because of Demon Sorrelisk and like Arana elementals. That they're going to be very strong in this meta. Lich King Beast will be an unbeatable high roll. Yeah, but you don't evaluate a hero based upon one comp that would be really good if you get it. It'll be very strong. Lich King's going to be very strong. I like Lich King. But I don't think he's a top 10 hero. I think he's like 12 to 15. But Arthas is the cutest hero. That's all that matters. What percent of lobbies have demons and beasts? Well, I mean, if a hero is only going to be picked when it's relevant, that's like the same reason why we don't evaluate Jandice based upon no token lobbies. Nobody's going to pick it in those lobbies, right? So the average for Jandice is relatively good and very strong. Honest question, not critiquing. Whatever it ends up being. I don't know the exact math off the top of my head. 20% range. Don't have one of the two. Or 30% range. Like, whatever it is, like 65 to 70% of lobbies will have demons and beasts in it. Somebody in YouTube comments will be like, here's the number. I'll say thank you. Could do it in a few minutes, but I'm going to focus on where we are. Oh, if you put Lich in 16th place or 17th if you leave Illidan, yeah, okay. Whatever. Somewhere in that range. I put it here because I think it's worse than Baerov and better than Savjz. I just ballparked it at 15. Anything else down here through the list that we are a little bit sus of? Alakir being this low in a tempo meta makes me a little bit nervous. Like, I think that probably is a little false. That Alakir, generally speaking, overperforms in tempo metas. But I don't think he makes A tier. I think I might be overselling Elise a little bit. I really like her. I think the design is really cool. I don't think she's that strong. Good. Not busted or anything. What was Sneed's buddy? Garbage. All right. And Brucon, like, on the surface, he's so cool. But I don't think he doesn't add up to enough stats to really justify over the vast majority of heroes. I think Shudder's too high. I don't think so. I think in Avenge lobbies, you're just going to play Shudderwalk in double token lobbies only. Mostly when Avenge is decent, you're going to triple in the 4s or 5s. You don't triple in the 6s. Shudderwalk's still perfectly fine, but you only play him in double token lobbies. And then everything below, highly situational, bad but not unplayable. Trash tier. All right. Keep this up. I can get to this later. But also, what the fuck, Illidan? Sad that Rag's bad this patch. Yeah, I think Rag's been pretty bad for a while, though. It's really just, it comes down to the fact that, like, stat scaling late in the game isn't that important. All right, where can I see all the new buddies? Well, you can go to Play Hearthstone, the main page. This is their main website after all. And just bring this back out to... You go to the main page, you just go to Cards Battlegrounds. Then you can click on any hero, and it shows all their buddies. Now we can see it. Why is Illidan what the fuck? Because it's broken. It's way too strong.